I've never heard of these movies. Let's fix that. Here's every Hollywood movie of March 2025. March 7th brings us 8 new movies. Mickey 17 is a sci-fi black comedy by Bong Joon-ho. You might recognize him for directing Snowpiercer and Parasite. It stars Robert Pattinson as Mickey Barnes, an expendable, a disposable employee where after one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of their memories intact. After one of his multiples, Mickey 17, unintentionally survives a human expedition to colonize an ice planet, he goes head-to-head with a new multiple, Mickey 18. It also features Mark Ruffalo as the leader of the legal proceedings to determine which Mickey should stay alive. Plankton the Movie is coming to Netflix March 7th. It's an animated musical where SpongeBob's nemesis Plankton finds his world completely changed when his plan for world domination is thwarted. In the Lost Lands is an epic fantasy based on a short story by George R. R. Martin and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. You might know him for directing the Resident Evil movies, Event Horizon, the older Mortal Kombat movie, and Alien vs. Predator. It's about a witch and a mysterious hunter, played by Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista, who go into the Lost Lands to grant the Queen's wish of becoming a werewolf, knowing that every granted wish has unimaginable consequences. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl is a black comedy about a Zambian family discovering their secrets as they plan for their uncle's funeral. The Senior is a sports movie about a man who was kicked off his football team for fighting. 37 years later, he goes back to school to get his degree and try out for the team one last time. Ephus is a sports movie about the last game of an amateur small-town baseball league before their stadium is demolished. Queen of the Ring is a sports biopic about the legendary female wrestler Mildred Burke. I don't know anything about wrestling, so that's all I can tell you. And from the studio that brought you Sound of Freedom, we get Rule Breakers, based on the true story of a group of women illegally getting their education and transforming their nation forever. March 14th brings us 5 new movies. Black Bag is about 2 married spies, played by Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. When she's accused of betraying the nation, he has to make the ultimate choice: loyalty to his marriage or loyalty to his country. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh, who you might know from Ocean's 11 and Logan Lucky, and written by the legendary screenwriter David Koepp, who you might recognize for Jurassic Park 1, Mission Impossible 1, and Spider-Man 1. Novocaine stars Jack Quaid as a man who can't feel pain, diving into a bank hostage situation to save his girlfriend. The Electric State is coming to Netflix March 7th. It's set in an alternate 1994 where a young girl is approached by a robot who claims to know her missing brother, and they set out to find him. It reunites Joe and Anthony Russo from Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Endgame, and Avengers Infinity War. And it stars Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Keith Kwan, Stanley Tucci, Giancarlo Esposito, Jason Alexander, Woody Harrelson, Anthony Mackie, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Alan Tudyk, Billy Bob Thornton, Hank Azaria, and Coleman Domingo. Also, fun fact, Novocaine and The Electric State are both coming out on the same day, and both star Amber Midthunder. What stars aligned to make that happen? Opus is a thriller about a young writer who's invited to the remote compound of a legendary pop star who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. Surrounded by the star's cult of sycophants and intoxicated journalists, she finds herself in the middle of his twisted plan. It co-stars John Malkovich. And The World Will Tremble is about a group of prisoners trying to escape the Nazis' first extermination camp and live to tell their story to the world. G.I. Robot approves of this movie. March 21st, Snow White is about... Look, you know what Snow White is about. It stars Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot and is directed by Mark Webb, director of The Amazing Spider-Man and 500 Days of Summer. The Alto Knights is the most gangstery movie since The Godfather. It's about a mafia boss who orders a hit on another mafia boss, both played by Robert De Niro. It's directed by Barry Levinson, director of Rain Man and Good Morning Vietnam. The Friend has a dog. No, seriously, that's the entire plot. I'm just gonna read the plot synopsis from IMDb. Follows a story of love, friendship, grief, and healing about a young writer who adopts a Great Dane that belonged to a late friend and mentor. It stars Naomi Watts and Bill Murray. Ash is a sci-fi horror thriller starring Eiza Gonzalez from Baby Driver about a woman who wakes up on a distant planet to find the crew of her spaceship has been killed. She must decide if she can trust the man sent to rescue her, played by Aaron Paul. If you watched Passengers and wished that was a horror movie instead, you want Ash. And Magazine Dream stars Jonathan Majors as an aspiring bodybuilder who struggles to find human connection in this exploration of celebrity and violence. Nothing deters him from his fiercely protected dream of superstardom, not even the doctors who warn him of the permanent damage he causes to himself with his quest. And March 28th brings us 5 new movies, starting with A Working Man, which stars Jason Statham as a former Marine commando who leaves his peaceful life as a construction worker to track down human traffickers. It's also directed by David Ayer, who you might know from Suicide Squad and The Beekeeper. The Woman in the Yard is a psychological horror movie from the director of Orphan and House of Wax. I'm just gonna read the plot synopsis. A woman in black appears on a family's front lawn and delivers a chilling warning. No one knows where she came from, what she wants, or when she will leave. Death of a Unicorn is a black comedy horror movie from A24. It's about a dad and his daughter who accidentally crash into a unicorn on their way to meeting with some really ultra wealthy friends. And then those friends decide to exploit the unicorn's corpse, and then the unicorn's mate comes to kill off everyone who was involved in the exploitation of this animal. It stars Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Téa Leoni, and Richard E. Grant. The Life List comes to Netflix on March 28th. It's a rom-com for the director of Definitely Maybe, about a woman who tries to achieve the goals she set out for herself as a child. And what might be the longest movie title of the year, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip is coming to Disney Plus March 28th. It's about a Hispanic-American family of Colombian and Mexican heritage who have recently lost their connection to each other and their roots, who embark on an epic road trip that goes hilariously wrong. Only Alexander, the supposedly cursed member of the family, can find a way to bring everyone back together. It stars Ava Longoria and Cheech Martin and is produced by Sean Levy, who you probably know from directing Free Guy, The Atom Project, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Real Steel. What are you most excited for? Follow me on YouTube, Bluesky, and RedNote at MoviesAndHeists for more movie love. You can get these videos a week early and help fund my movie at patreon.com/moviesandheists. Special thanks to these patrons for helping to fund my movie, titled Red and Black.